H-harnessHobo here. Today, I want to talk a little bit about clothing and good camos for a militia or militia-inspired kit. So let's just go ahead and start off with clothing. What I find to be the best clothing for pulling off this kind of look, well, I guess there's really two ways to go about it. You can just wear whatever you want, right? And just boom, that's a militia. That's, you just throw on whatever you want to throw on. Or you can watch footage from the Chechen wars or the wars in Yugoslavia right after they broke up, and just kind of pick and say, like, oh, see what he's wearing. Oh, well, what's that guy wearing? Ooh, that looks kind of cool. I'm gonna wear that. So you really just go about it, whatever. But anyway, down to the clothing itself, I find that wearing, this is not a good example, but it's cold, so I'm wearing this. First, I find it good to do one piece of camouflage and one piece of civilian, or at least one piece of civilian, one piece of camouflage. So whether that be pants, so just doing some regular cargo pants and then wearing camouflage on top, or wearing camouflage pants and then just a regular sweater or t-shirt on top. Now with pants, I think the best colors and best styles are cargo pants or just normal baggy, not baggy per se, but larger pants in the colors of gray, dark green, I guess you could do more of an olive drab, khaki, brown, black, any darker colors that work more for camouflage, but that still look civilian, or still civilian clothing. For like torso, for t-shirts or long sleeves, I recommend either just doing tan t-shirts or tank tops or anything like that. Old school US Army stuff works pretty well for that, just underlayers. And if you're doing long sleeve, I recommend a sweater, preferably a green or brownish knitted sweater. Those look really well. Well, you just have hand knitted, but those look nice. So that's usually what I think for civilian clothing works well. That's what I do. I usually just wear pants and wear camo on top, and that works relatively well. I already skipped shoes, but wear whatever. Boots work well. Tennis shoes or like running shoes you can, but I'd say boots just to match whatever color you're doing. And also you have to keep in mind what color you're kind of going off of, because I think the main color will be greenish or brownish for me. So I work off of that, but you might be doing tan and brown. So then you just work off of that and just have the pieces relatively matching so it looks more cohesive and it looks better. So boots, whatever, pants, I already talked about that. Shirt or jackets or tops, for civilian, talked about that. Gloves, whatever. So let's go and start talking about camo. Specifically camo patterns. Now there is a humongous amount of camo out there. I would recommend staying away from American camos, like modern American camos, or camos that we've used, that the U.S. have used in the past 40, 35 years, depending on, of course, what your kit is meant to represent. But that's just me. I don't like to wear American camos, or American camos from the past 40 years, per se, in my militia kits. I just don't think it looks right. But hey, it's whatever you want. If you like ERDL or multicam, go for it. If you're doing a more modern militia, then that is completely fine. But what I'm talking about is really pre-2000s or even pre-90s, really just pre-2000s. So that's what camos I use. Anyway, on the specific camos, I have a few here with me to show you that I like to use, but I'll be doing more update videos on camos in the future when I have more of them. But right now I'm just going to show what I have and talk about why I think they're good. So let's go and start off with the old school ERDL. So you see this? But this is ERDL. but it is the variant, the first variant they had, where it is primarily green. There's no tan, right? This was in Vietnam. They used this in the 60s, and they used it throughout Vietnam, but by the end they started to replace it with the more modern ERDL that we know now. But I think this works great, and you've seen me wear this. I was wearing this in the Chicom video, so you've seen me rocking this camo. I love this stuff. I have the pants for it as well, but they're XXL, well, or they're XL, as ours is shirt. I don't know if you can tell, not an XL, so that's a little annoying, but it's baggy, so it kind of looks cool. Kind of like it. Anyway, great camo. If you can get your hands on it, it works really well. I find it kind of hard to find, even at surplus stores, or my surplus store I have at least. They don't carry any of this kind of camo because it is older and it is harder to find. But it looks good and you can use it. So the other camo I have, which I just got recently and I love and think looks great for the militia kit, is the M94 pattern Romanian camouflage. This I got off of eBay, and I will leave a link to, I don't know if it's the exact one, but it's one close to this exact one that I got. So these are awesome. This was $25 for this jacket. It was in a small as well, so it fits me. If anything, it might be a little small on me. I might almost be a medium, but it works amazing. It looks great. It's just sexy. It's just a sexy camo. Kind of gives you that paratrooper feel. It's Romanian, which is cool. This is the M94 pattern. There's also an M90, which is more grass and leafy, I believe. I don't have any of that though. You can also use that. But this is a great camo, and I highly recommend getting yourself at least the shirt. I think you can find pants as well. But hey. I even found a cap, I think, as well you can use. Speaking of which, what I like about this is, since the colors are the same as modern ERDL, you can get away with mixing it. If you want to wear an ERDL cap or boonie, like I have here with this, it doesn't look all that bad. You can't really tell, and it still looks really good. So, overview of the M94. Great camouflage. I highly recommend getting yourself a jacket like this if you're doing a militia kit. It looks really good with just like greenish or brownish or any really darker color pants. It looks amazing. So that's all I have right now for other. I think I have one or two other. I have an ACU jacket, but I'm not going to talk about using ACU now. Other patterns I recommend, really any ex-Soviet countries or even the Soviets themselves, all their camos work really well for the militia kit, especially if you're doing more of the Chechen or the Georgian wars kind of inspiration, because I do mostly like to do kind of Chechen inspired, but that's just me. Other good camos, I think it's the M79 Czech camo from the Czech Republic or Czechoslovakia in older times. I think that one looks really good, and you could use that if you wanted to. Polish camos, Serbian camos, really any of those would work great. Any camo you really like and works well with what you're thinking of doing will work great. Let's go to headgear real quick. Let's finish off with headgear. So obviously you can do a balaclava, which is what I prefer to do. Now I have this one here with me. This is a modern one. I don't like this one as much. I like my sock one more, but I can't seem to find it. I highly recommend using one of those. That works really well and looks great. You can just run that with safety protection and with eye protection and face protection if you're doing airsoft. And it works well. And then if you don't want to do that and want to do a hat or do a hat along with it, you can always use a boonie. An American boonie, you can just use green or any color that can work with your camo. Now what I like to do is not to have whatever I'm wearing on my head be the same color, or I should say same exact camo as whatever I'm wearing on my top or down. I like them more mixed matched. I think it looks better for the militia look. I think it looks a bit more ragtag, but that's just my personal preference. So So you can do that as however you wish. Caps work well. This is just like an army cap or a Marine Corps. What was it? Yeah, just a camouflage. This works well. You can do that. Another thing you can do is get a helmet. You can get, and I'm not talking about like a modern, like, one of those like Team Wendy's, like the fast attack, high cut helmets. No, none of that bullshit. No, I'm talking old school, pre-70s, preferably Soviet inspired. So the SSH-68 or its counterparts, or even the SSH, 40 something, the one they used during World War II, or anyway. Any of those helmets look great, and they're cheap, relatively. You can find, I just purchased a Serbian M94, or is an M50 or M79, or one of the two, for $30 off of a website, American Pipedream. I'm not sponsored by them or affiliated with them in any way, but they are an awesome website, and I highly recommend you go and look at all their cool stuff. Really cool. You can do a helmet, which I think is awesome. I'm going to do a video on my helmet, my kit with the helmet when it gets here. So that will be a lot of fun. So you can always throw on a helmet. It just looks cool. A helmet with the balaclava is going to look baller. It is going to look awesome. So you can always do that. So yeah, use a helmet. That's great. And if you want to mount a GoPro to it, you can figure out how to do that with some tape, with like a sticky surface you can use, or something along those lines. And it just looks good and gives you a little bit more of that like shock trooper or paratrooper feeling, which is really fun. I think that is about it. I think I've covered all the bases I really want to, talking about clothing and camo for now. I may revisit this topic in the future because it's always a good thing to expand on. Videos in the future are going to continue my militia and guerrilla warfare tactics series. Going to continue that. It was originally supposed to be a 3-part series, but but there's a lot of stuff you can talk about for that, so that'll keep coming. More specifically airsoft dedicated videos on more of my airsoft weapons, doing videos on those. Going to do some good and cheap external upgrades and modifications to make your respective rifles or whatever look more ragtag and make them look fun and cool, and other miscellaneous videos in the future. So yeah, well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching. All right, see you next time.